Hi, my name is Pragathi, and today I will be making a 5% salt solution to test my salinometer. The ratio I will be using is 25 grams of salt over 500 milliliters of distilled water. So in order to have 25 grams of salt, I will be using a salt volume to weight calculator. So let's first see 1 teaspoon of salt is equal to 6 grams of salt. So 4 and 1/6 or 4.166 would be approximately 25. So I need 4 1/6 teaspoons. So let's do that. Here's my 1 teaspoon measure, and I need 4 of these. So take my card. Let me just put this in the way. We're gonna do 1, 2, 3, and here's our 4th one, 4. Okay, now I'm gonna need my 1/6. So here I'm gonna be taking my 1/3 and filling it up only halfway because 1/6 teaspoons do not exist. So that's about halfway. So I'm gonna put it in. Here we have our 25 grams of salt. So my next step will be to get 500 milliliters of distilled water. Hi. So my next step in this experiment is to have 500 milliliters of distilled water. So I've poured a little of my distilled water into this cup just to make it easier so I can pour it into here, measure out my 250 milliliters twice, and pour it back into here. Just because this thing is so big, it's kind of hard to pour. So right here, if you take a look, it's 250 milliliters. So I need 500, so that would be 2 times this. So now I'm gonna pour my distilled water into here, and then make sure it's even before I put it into my final cup where I'll be mixing the salt later. So let's do that. So right here, I'm just gonna a little more. Right there. So if you see, once the water stables out a little, when it stops moving, it's hitting that 250 mark right there. So now that it's there, I'm gonna pour it in my final cup and then do another 250. Because 500. Making sure it all gets in there. Okay, so now I'm gonna pour some more distilled water back in there so I can do my other 50. Okay, right there. So now I'm gonna cap this and do my next 250 so we have 500 that we can combine with the salt. So, gonna get down. Okay. Right there. So, if you take a look, once it stabilizes, you'll see it's hitting the 250 mark. So now I'll put that back in this container. So this is 500 milliliters of water. Okay, so now I will be dissolving my 25 grams of salt in my 500 milliliters of distilled water. So I'll put a little in. Okay, now I need to make sure it's all dissolved and it's all completely broken up. So, and not just settling at the bottom. So this will take a while. Now that I've thoroughly dissolved my solution, I'm going to put my salinometer in there. But first I'm just going to mix it one last time. Okay. I'm going to set that aside. So now I'm going to put my salinometer in there. Just going to drop it. Okay, so now to interpret my results, the water mark is hitting right where the 6th marking is, or where 5 is, because there's a marking for 0. Once it stops moving, I can read it a little better. But yeah, you can see the 5 on top and underneath. And where the marking is, it's a tiny bit above, but it's the closest to 5.